May 24th, 2013. I'm at home watching Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and right in front of my eyes, I'm witnessing the birth of the NBA's newest superstar.
Here comes George, got the step and stuffs one move and counts on the foul.
We are seeing a superstar in the making here with Paul George.
Paul George is just 23 years old, but he's already breaking the internet. YouTubers are dropping videos titled, "A Star is Born," while news headlines are painting him as the league's next big thing. PG has the swagger, the smooth game, and the spotlight. Everyone wants a piece of him.
Mr. Paul George, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm excellent. I wanted to get you on TMZ.
One thing's clear, Paul George isn't just a star. He's him. Now, 12 years later, something's different, and everyone knows it.
Paul George dropped 2 points in 37 minutes in a game without Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid.
He's not playoff P anymore. He's not pandemic P. He's podcast P now.
Back to Paul George. This is a terrible investment. One of the worst investments I've seen in recent history.
What happened to Paul George? How does a superstar turn into a joke? And how is he walking away with $200 million while the league watches? This is the story of how Paul George legally robbed the NBA and smiled doing it. I'm typing this script with a big smile on my face. Want to know why? Because I'm wearing the most comfortable pair of underwear I've ever put on. Sheath underwear. As someone who sits at a desk all day and needs to stay focused, comfort isn't just a luxury. It's a necessity. And Sheath delivers. They're also a game changer when I hit the gym on my breaks. Supportive, breathable, and just right. And it makes sense. This brand was actually founded by a US Army vet during his second tour in Iraq. So yeah, these bad boys have been tested in serious conditions. This isn't just a step up from what I used to wear. It's a whole new experience. Now, I've never flown first class, but if I had to guess, that's exactly how my boys are feeling right now. Sheesh! And here's the kicker. Sheath offers a money-back guarantee on your first pair if you're not feeling the magic. No wonder they've got over 10,000 five-star reviews. So, if you're still rocking those old-school, uncomfortable boxers, it's time to level up. Visit sheath.com/hoopreports today and enter the promo code HoopReports for 20% off. Life's too short. Live luxuriously. Live comfortably. Live with Sheath. Before he becomes a Clipper, Paul George is everything you want in a superstar. He shows up night after night, electrifies the crowd, and gives NBA fans moments they'll never forget.
PG puts on the shot. Oh yeah, PG.
He's not just flashy, he's fearless, a true two-way force, and without question, one of the best players in the league.
George has to get a touch at some point, and he does. The three ball quickly, got it, and one! My George, Paul on the job!
I don't usually buy into superstition, but man, Paul George's career doesn't start slipping until he puts on that jersey. Call it the Clippers curse, call it bad timing, call it whatever you want, but something changes the moment he joins that organization. I mean, the year before that move, he's all NBA first team and third in MVP voting. A legit superstar. But once he gets to LA, the swagger, the drive, the old PG starts fading right in front of our eyes.
Like, I had to be honest to myself that, like, in order for me to win at the highest level or get to where I want to get to, I don't think I'm the one guy.
Look, I get it. Being the number one option isn't easy. The expectations, the scrutiny, the responsibility. It's a lot. Not everyone is wired to be like Kobe or MJ. But I'm not knocking him for being honest about that. It actually takes courage to admit you're not built for that kind of pressure. Most players would rather fake it than say it out loud. So, in a way, it's refreshing. Because the truth is, not everyone's meant to be Batman. But this is where Paul George starts to lose me. When Kawhi, the Clippers' clear alpha, goes down with an invisible injury, the team needs someone to carry the flag.
I'll publicly say, I'm the two. Kawhi's the one, I'm the two.
As the self-declared number 2, this is Paul George's moment. His chance to lead, to take control, to carry the team like a real second option should. But instead, he shrinks.
What was the real issue? The real issue was Paul George.
From the outside looking in, it feels like Paul sees Kawhi's injury as a green light to coast. And he does just that. The numbers back it up. Some of the worst shooting of his career. Then he starts missing games. A lot of them. 48, 54, 31, 56. If you're wondering, those are the number of games Paul George plays over 4 straight years, just 61% of the regular season. But it's not just the absences. The body language changes. The energy's off. Sure, he still flashes brilliance, but only after the media lights him up. It feels like he's playing to clap back at headlines, not to chase legacy.
Should people stop bashing Paul George?
No, it's not bashing, it's truth-telling.
For 4 straight years, Clippers fans don't just suffer, they live through basketball misery. At that point, I stop calling it the Clippers curse and start calling it tradition. The 2024 NBA season is going to be different. Paul knows it, his family knows it, everyone does.
PG both eligible for extensions. Given their injury histories, is that something you guys are willing to, comfortable committing potentially 4 years and more than $200 million toward those guys? Will those be offered?
Paul can't coast anymore. He can't hide behind bad shooting nights or missed games. Because now, something's on the line. A new contract, a whole lot of money, generational wealth. And just like that, the magic, after years of playing 30, 40, maybe 50 games a season, he suddenly starts suiting up nearly every night. The old Paul George shows up too. The version fans hadn't seen in years. He's aggressive, he's productive. Statistically, it's one of the best seasons of his career.
George, the step away for the tie. Oh my goodness! He put it in!
Unfortunately for Clippers fans, they still fall short. But hey, Paul George doesn't lose sleep over it. He played the part, looked the part, and gave teams just enough to believe there's still something special in him.
Paul George is literally one of the top 3 free agents. Like him, Siakam, and Maxey are like the top guys on the list.
With the season over, now comes the good part. In the 2024 offseason, the Clippers approach Paul with a 2-year extension worth $60 million. That's $30 million a year. For context, that would make him about the 50th highest paid player in the NBA, just outside the top 10%. Honestly, that sounds like a great deal. After missing over 100 games, more than 35% of his time in LA, and falling short of every expectation the franchise had, you'd think he'd be grateful for $30 million a year. You'd think he'd take a deep breath, look around and say, man, thank God they still believe in me. You'd expect a little humility, a moment of self-awareness, maybe even a fire to finally live up to what he once was. But instead, he says this.
Like the first initial deal was, I thought, kind of disrespectful.
Somewhere out there, Kawhi Leonard probably saw that clip and made this sound. So I'm Googling right now, and apparently the biggest heist in American history happened in Los Angeles back in 1997. It's called the Dunbar Armed Robbery, $18.9 million stolen. Adjusted for inflation, that's around $35 million today. Not bad. But Paul George topped that without a mask, a weapon, or even leaving his house.
The biggest movement happened overnight. Paul George leaving the LA Clippers to sign a 4-year, $212 million deal with the Philadelphia 76ers.
Whatever he and his agent pitched must have been incredible, because the Sixers bought all of it. Somewhere out there, Kawhi heard about that deal and made that sound again. Now, sure, it's not technically a heist. It's technically not illegal. Paul George didn't rob anyone, at least not in the eyes of the law. But when you look at the results, it's hard to tell the difference. For starters, he only placed 41 games, just half the season. That's already not great, but what's worse? He only wins 14 of them. Then at one point, he's putting out more podcast episodes than he is playing actual games. Eventually, he has to say he's publicly stepping back from podcasting to focus on basketball, after the season's already slipping away.
After today's episode with Dwight, I plan to take a break from the pod just to focus on getting my body right, getting mentally right.
Finally, as for production, remember when I said he struggled with the Clippers? Well, this year, he takes not one, but 2 steps back, averaging just 16 points per game. 16. There's a guy on the Sixers making $4 million a year, and he's putting up 22. Now, sure, Embiid and Maxi's injuries definitely derailed any real shot the Sixers had, but when you take max money, you're supposed to take max responsibility. You lead, you show up, you set the tone. Instead, PG misses games with minor injuries, including a pinky injury. Kobe would have just taped it up and dropped 40. But here's the rough part for Philly fans. This isn't a one-season thing. Paul George is under contract for 3 more years. Sheesh! The Dunbar guys risked their freedom for $35 million. Paul George just had to average 16 a night. As I sit behind my desk brainstorming this video, I can already hear some people accusing me of hating how much NBA players get paid. But honestly, that's not what this is about. This isn't just a Paul George hating video either. He's just currently the biggest face of a bigger pattern in the NBA and beyond. I believe if you're going to earn that kind of money, generational, legacy-changing money, that you should at least try to be great. In Paul George's case, that's showing up on the court, dazzling, competing, inspiring. Not taking the money and contributing to the downfall of a franchise. But look, this isn't just about NBA players. Truth is, we should all be chasing greatness, myself included. Because if we're not out here trying to make the world better, even in our own small way, then what are we really doing? That's exactly why it bothers me so much when I see cities and fans wait years for their team to finally have a shot at becoming special, only to watch it crumble. Not from lack of talent, but because someone got paid, then mentally checked out. What happened to the Kobes of the world? The ones who'd fight through injury just so a kid sitting in the nosebleeds, who saved up all year for that one night, didn't leave the arena disappointed. That hunger, that responsibility, the pride, the fight, the heart. Now it's all about the paycheck, not the performance. That dunk on LeBron felt like the start of something legendary. Turns out, it might have been the peak.